Hello, my name is Carrie Rogers. I'm a education program consultant on the Special Education and Title Services team, and I have some updates as far as the alternate assessment DLM justifications. The alternate assessment justifications were moved to the KIOS, or the Kansas Integrated Accountability System, last year. They are going to remain in the KIOS web application. When you first get into the application, you will see your 1% or your DLM percentage. If a district tests over 1% of their students on an alternate assessment, they will be required to complete the justification. In the past, small districts with a total test population less than 300 were not required to complete the justifications. Beginning this year, they will be required to complete the justifications. The calculations are applied at the district level, not the school level. In addition, the data includes any students sent outside of your district for services, but for whom you are still accountable. The DLM percentage is calculated by taking the number of students that participated in the alternate assessment based on alternate academic achievement standards divided by the total number of students that participated in any assessment, general with accommodations, and alternate. We have added some additional data for you to look at this year when you're doing your justifications. Disability categories taking the DLM will be available in a report within the system, and it will be based on the December 1 SPED Pro final report. The purpose of providing this data is for districts to be able to identify if students are taking the alternate assessment from disability categories not generally associated with the most significant cognitive disability. We will also be providing disproportionality data by subgroups and risk ratio data for those subgroups. A risk ratio greater than 3.0 will need to be addressed. The third piece of data that we will be supplying for you is the percentage of students performing at target or advanced on the DLM for the school year. That would be those students performing that received a 3 or a 4 according to the AMOS data. If you have a large number of students in this percentage, it could be that those students would be better challenged academically if they were taking a general assessment with accommodations. Questions that were on last year's justification that you will still have this year are to provide a narrative that includes the data types and processes that the IEP teams are utilizing to qualify students for the alternate assessment. And what are the district's next steps to ensure that annually the appropriate test is administered to each student? With these questions, we're asking, what are IEP teams looking at when determining eligibility for the alternate assessment? Teams should be looking at both intellectual functioning and adaptive behavior. The question is, what is an adaptive behavior and how do we assess for a deficit? Adaptive behaviors are skills required to function in life. Can the student cook, manage a budget, do laundry? Students' IEPs should be linked to the essential elements, and the goals must include benchmarks. Students should require extensive, repeated, individualized instruction and supports and use substantially adapted materials. Teams should be utilizing the DLM participation guidelines, the flow chart, and/or the rubric to determine eligibility for the DLM. Depending on what your data shows, districts may determine they need to provide additional support to IEP teams on what a most significant cognitive disability is, the use of accommodations for the general assessment, or on the concept of least dangerous assumption. We have a question at the end of the justifications that gives you an opportunity to indicate that your district needs further support, and you can choose one of these areas for additional training, and we would come out and provide that training. The final thing that will appear on the justifications is the DLM Assurances. This was something that I sent out this summer that had to be completed for the 17-18 school year because of us applying for a waiver to the 1%. Beginning with this year's justifications, we will include the assurances for the 2019-20 school year. If you anticipate your district will test over 1% of its students on an alternate assessment or the DLM in any subject area, you must complete the assurances. There's a place for the superintendent's signature and the director of special education. We only need one signature in order for this to be submitted. If you have any questions, you can contact me at 785-296-0916, or crogers@ksde.org. Thank you.